least 8 killed when a cliff collapses in Western Australia. Peace in tatters as violence continues in the Middle East. And a big Melbourne welcome for the AFL grand finalists.
From National 9 News, this is Nightline with Jim Waley.
Good evening. There's been a terrible accident in Western Australia today with at least 8 people killed when a rock face collapsed at a beach near Margaret River south of Perth. School children and adults are among the dead and others are feared buried under the rubble. Reporter Gary Adshed joins me now from the scene. And Gary, what more do we know about the tragedy?
Well, we know that basically the situation is that it's too dangerous to continue looking right now. Obviously the darkness has come, and with it some torrential weather. They have in fact called off searching for any more people at this stage. We have confirmed that there are 8 dead. They're saying possibly 11, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. We're looking at a range of ages from teenagers up to adults, possibly even primary school children at this stage.
How many school children?
Well, I'm not sure. At one stage I was told that there were 4 children, but you know, it's just the scenes down here are pretty chaotic. You've got, as you'd imagine, in a small community, a lot of people trying to do their utmost to make it a better situation than it is. But it's very dire, and one of the things that you can't help but notice are the people, the families of children, etc., huddled to one side under blankets, just waiting for word as to whether you know, whether their children are okay.
How did the accident happen?
Well, there has been a lot of torrential rain down in this area. I'm told that it's a cliff of something like 30 metres, and it overhangs the beach area. We understand that obviously with the weather that's come, it's probably made it unstable with all the rainfall. And these people were actually sitting under this overhang watching a surfing not a surfing competition, but a lot of surfers out in the water. It just happened in an instant. And as a result, there are some, 11, possibly more people who were trapped under there. They pulled one person out alive so far, just the one person. Now, how many others are missing? At this stage, they won't even tell us that. We've just been told that they can count for 8, i.e. that those people have died, and there is possibly 3 more. I suppose if we do our figures, they are saying that there's 3 unaccounted for. How many rescue people were there in the area when this accident happened? I could hardly keep count. There were dozens. I mean, for such a small community, they seem to have come from nowhere. And the weather conditions at the moment? The weather conditions, very blowy, scattered rain, making it probably even more difficult, as you'd imagine, cold and very wet. Gary Adshed, thanks very much. And we've just heard that the Western Australian Health Department has revised the death toll to 9, and that everyone else has been accounted for. Now to other news, and in the Middle East, fighting has erupted again in Jerusalem, the 3rd day of violent confrontations between Palestinians and Israeli troops. The trouble was triggered by the Israeli government's decision to open a tunnel near Islamic holy sites. But Palestinian anger has been building since the election of the Netanyahu government and its slowing of the peace process. Our coverage begins with a confrontation on the West Bank and Gaza Strip.
This was nothing less than warfare. Across Gaza and the West Bank, violent clashes escalated into gun battles. Palestinian police and Israeli troops exchanged fire in a dozen chaotic skirmishes. All day the casualties have been mounting. In Gaza, seen as some of the worst fighting, there were desperate attempts to evacuate the wounded under heavy gunfire. Dozens of Palestinians have been killed and hundreds more seriously injured. And never before have Israelis taken such casualties in clashes with the Palestinians. For now, the equation is different and much more deadly. More than 30,000 armed Palestinian police have been deployed in the self-rule areas. While we were taking cover and watching the casualties mount, the Palestinian police opened up, trying to hit an Israeli position. Helicopter gunships flew overhead, targeting Palestinian sniper positions close by us. Many Israelis and Palestinians had hoped that such scenes as these were a thing of the past. But now, after 2 days of violence throughout the West Bank, no one knows where this is leading. And no one knows if Yasser Arafat is still in control. In an effort to reassert control, Israel brought in battle tanks to offer some protection to their troops. In the city of Nablus in the north, crowds of Palestinians attacked a convoy of Israeli jeeps. Only Israel seems to have been caught by surprise by this latest outburst of fury. Many other observers had predicted that Palestinian society was on the verge of an explosion. There were just a few glimpses of a peace process in action in the most stressful of situations. Palestinian doctors here struggled to save a severely wounded Israeli soldier, taking him in an ambulance to an Arab hospital. They battled for his life, but he later died. Israeli military reinforcements have been sent into both Gaza and the West Bank. There is no sense here the fighting is over. The Palestinians know that the peace process that once they thought would save them may itself have been destroyed. Robert Moore reporting for Nightline.
Tonight's violence has centred on Temple Mount in Jerusalem's Old City, where Muslims traditionally pray on Friday, their holy day. At least 3 people have been killed as Israeli police opened fire with tear gas and rubber bullets. The Israeli government has now ordered the controversial tunnel temporarily closed. Prime Minister Netanyahu had claimed the tunnel was no infringement on Muslim sacred ground. But with other broken Israeli promises on the expansion of settlements on the West Bank, withdrawal from Hebron and the future of Jerusalem itself, Palestinian bitterness was simmering. Mr. Netanyahu, always reluctant to speak to Yasser Arafat in the past, is calling for urgent talks, and the United States says it is prepared to mediate in negotiations. Bob Dent, the first person to die under the Northern Territory's euthanasia laws, was fair weather.